Hi, my name's John Eshelman, and it's been a minute since I've been in this spot here teaching and talking about Jesus, but I'm grateful to be here. Ryan is taking a big risk by letting me. Just kidding. But I'm going to put my outline up there, or Daniel is, and just so we know where we're headed today. And I'm excited to be here. It is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster because it's been so long since I put something like this together for a group of people, but it is a roller coaster of goodness and love. So, yeah, this is the outline, 6th and 6th, USC, UPenn, and Northwestern, enough Lent for 8.2 billion. Good news, keep it close, forget about it. Newton's third law of motion, he's him, and irrepressible life. So, it's all going to make sense, or it won't, but I'm just going to start in on some of these thoughts that I've been having about Jesus and about this time of life right now, which is we're heading into Easter, like we just announced, and the resurrection. So, 6th and 6th, I was in 6th grade, and some of you know that I like to surf, and so I decided to enter a surf contest. It was at Oceanside Harbor at the North Jetty. And I had never been in a surf contest before, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of thought I knew how to surf. And so I put on the yellow jersey, I remember, which in today's surf world is like the golden jersey. That's like the number one in the world gets to wear that one. It was just yellow, and red was actually more popular at that point when I was in 6th grade. But I put on the yellow jersey, I paddled out, I caught some waves, and I thought I did pretty good. I did a floater, which was pretty exciting, and landed it. And I came in and I got 6th out of 6. That was that was my result of my first contest. And I just was not good enough to beat one person in that heat. And over time I worked at it. I learned early on in my surfing career that I was not good enough. So I worked at it. Eventually I did win contests. But when I won, it felt good, but not good enough to keep me going for the rest of my life. Like, I would have to do this again and again and again. Like, I would need to keep winning. And then fast forward, several years, and I'm 24, and I'm applying for graduate school. To programs that I had applied to were USC, Annenberg of Communication, that school, and UPenn's Annenberg School of Communication, and Northwestern. And I was not good enough to get into any of those graduate programs. I was rejected, and that hurt. Not feeling good enough, not feeling accepted. I was, however, good enough to get into Georgetown University for my master's degree. And even though I got that, I wasn't good enough to get hired at some of the jobs that I'd applied for afterwards. And then eventually I got into a pastoral position at a church, and I wasn't trained enough. So I had to go back to school, and I had to get a master's of divinity. And you know what? That wasn't enough either. And are you sensing the theme here of enough? And over I keep running into this word, enough. I've been trained by my culture, and maybe you have too, to think that I am not enough, that I am lacking something. I need to be better, or try harder, do more, be better. I should do this. I need to do this. These are like things that are going on in my head. I could be more disciplined. I could. I should just 10x it. I got to triple net this thing. I need to expand my platform and take advantage of these opportunities. Anybody have any kind of internal dialogue like that? Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever feel like you're not enough? Not disciplined enough? Not responsible enough, not successful enough? And then, why don't we just take all that thinking into our relationship with God? Not reading the Bible enough, right? Not meditating enough, not praying enough, not serving enough, not meditating enough, not spiritual enough. And now we have it all mixes together with life, right? Not wealthy enough, not thin enough, not fit enough, not fast enough, not promoted enough, not vacationing enough, right? And it's like you're trying and trying and trying, but it just isn't enough. And you're really tried with some friendships, but for some reason you don't feel accepted enough, or you don't feel whole enough or content enough. And and you're grateful for what you have, but somehow you want more, and there's got to be something deeper, and you just want to say, stop. That's enough. And I'm exhausted just talking about it. And now we find ourselves in the season of Lent, this time heading into the death and resurrection of Jesus. And Lent just is a word that means springtime or a lengthened season. It's meant to signify the 40 days of Jesus in the wilderness. You know, it's supposed to prepare us for the commemoration of Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection. See, Ryan, look what I did. I messed it up. I was going so good here. Just kidding. All right. Technology. Still, I love it. So I find myself in this season, can I be good enough, fasting enough, spiritual enough to get through this season? And I find myself once again thinking, did I embody it enough? You see where I'm going here? Like this issue of enough keeps creeping back into my relationship with Jesus. It's so sneaky. It's so sneaky. It just keeps coming back in. I keep trying to prove myself. I can do this. No, I can do this. I can show up. I can present well. I can get through today. I can get through the next 30 minutes. I chose to walk in this room this morning. I even did my hair. I mean, I'm pulling strings to make this look good. Lots of strings. Chose my best outfit, and I'm here. So I want to read something, and this is for 8.2 billion, so you're going to get included on this, because this is for the whole world. Jesus has these words, and we'll throw them up there, Daniel, if you can. This is from Mark. And Jesus then told the crowd and the followers to come closer. He's like, this is for everyone. If any of you want to be my followers, and I'm just thinking that maybe Jesus' followers were like, well, we're already followers, but then they get this little line. You must forget about yourself. You must take up your cross and follow me. If you want to save your life, you will destroy it. But if you give up your life for me and for the good news, you will save it. What will you gain if you own the whole world but destroy yourself? What could you give to get back your soul? Now, the good news is anyone can follow Jesus. But it might take a little more than you think, more than you bargained for. It might take everything. Like when you choose to take up a cross, which is an instrument of execution, like you don't just get like kind of crucified. It's not like sort of, sort of crucified. Kind of executed. They only kind of executed him. All Jesus wants is all. That's all he's asking for, is all. But there's this great news about what happens when you choose and when I choose to give him all. And this will go to Newton's third law of motion, which I know you all know. You can just throw your hands up. I know Newton's third law. It's right here. Also known as the law of action and reaction, states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This just happens to be true about the universe, and even NASA and other space exploration is finding out that gravity happens to be true all over space, which is crazy. If I give all, what do I get in this sense? If I give everything, what is returned? You could participate if you want to know. Everything. I mean, you can. Because here's the thing. When you're getting crucified, it looks like you're not being saved. Am I right? That kind of looks like you're not being saved. And Jesus is all about this salvation, and yet all of a sudden he gets crucified, like he lost. But Jesus will say things like, if you want to experience this reality, maybe let's throw those up to Daniel. Forget about yourself. Like this is where I say forget about it. If you want to be great, you must be the servant of all the others. Well, that That's not how we think. If you want to be great, you expand your platform, you grow, you 10x it, you whatever it is. How different is this kind of thinking? It's very different. And if you, something happened with my writing there. If you want to be first, you must be the slave of the rest. That doesn't make sense, does it? The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life to rescue many people. And then he'll say something like, the humble will inherit the earth. That doesn't make sense. No, the people that inherit the earth are the winners, the guys that are out front doing it, making it happen, 10x, the Elon Musks. Those guys, the guys that are with all the money and all the wealth and all the power, they're the ones that are inheriting the earth. So do we just say, Jesus, this is a nice idea, but that doesn't work? And then if you want to experience God's reality, he'll say, you must become like a child. Also doesn't work. Give in secret, and God will reward you openly. But I can't get to a Christian university that doesn't have a building named after someone. The last will be first, and the first will be last. Again, it's this backwards kind of thinking. Pray in secret, and your God who hears what you pray in secret, will reward you openly. These things, it's so counter to what we think. So when Jesus says, if you want to follow me, it's just going to cost you everything. But the return on your giving is everything. You get everything back. You get the earth. You get acknowledgement. You get love. You get fullness of life. You get your soul. That's a good one. The thing is you can forget about yourself because he simply can't forget about you. He just can't. He refuses. It's just not in his nature to forget about you. And we think, well, if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. If I don't take care of this, who's going to? No one's thinking about me. I got to take what I can get. That is what we do. We take what we can get. And he says, let it be added. Seek first me, and then let it be added. And we think, no, it's take what you can get, not let it be added. That doesn't work. He simply cannot forget about you, and he never has, and he never will. And that love is real only because you feel it. And we hope that when you come into a space like this, you feel it, because it even has the benefit of being true, that you're loved. Like, the love is real because you feel it, you experience it. It's here. It's something, like, we all know love when we feel it. Would you agree? And we all know when we don't feel it, right? I mean, it's built into us. Now, in my religious world, it was, if you know all the answers and if you get the Bible really well, then you get the access to the intimacy of Christ. But like when my daughter was 2, she didn't know my name. Like, I was just Dada, right? She doesn't even know what Dada actually means. That's like the thing that she calls me. Define Dada, can't do it. But the love is real. She feels it, I feel it. She gives it, I give it. That's real. And no one can take that from us. No one can come in and give my daughter Lucy a quiz and say, obviously you don't know my dad. Or your dad. Sorry, obviously you don't know your dad. Pretty clear. You don't even know his name. I know his name. And see, religion taught me if I just knew all this stuff about God, then I would know God. But only you get to weigh in on whether or not you experience that love and that reality in your life. That's why we shouldn't be judging other people, right? Like, let's just not do that. Because only you know in your heart when you feel it. When someone gives you a hug, when you see a beautiful sunset, when you take a deep breath, when you wake up and say, I have consciousness, thank God, I'm here. I am loved. He's never not loving you. He's forgiving, and this will go to the cross story, but he's forgiving his executioners while he's being executed on the cross. And they're not even sorry. They're not even sorry. He upsets all our logic and then just invites us to trust him. He's him. That was one of my points. He's him. This is something kids say. You're him. Means you're exceptional. You know, this is my terrible attempt at 7th grade slang. But he's incredible, and he is grace. And I wanted to put this quote up for you. I think it's in there, Daniel. Yeah. Grace is not something God gives. Grace is who God is. Grace is God's official job description. Grace is what God does to keep alive forever all things that God has created in love. And I love that because it's just unstoppable. And this last point that we'll get to, and this will maybe be the longest one, but is irrepressible life. He is irrepressible life. His life cannot be stopped by death. And he shows this reality in his life, his own life. He preaches about it to his disciples. And in one of these stories, and you can read it if you want to, but in one of the stories, he encounters his two friends, Mary and Martha, and it's right after their brother Lazarus had died. And this is before Jesus himself had gone to the cross and died. And he's shown up too late to save their brother. And he was given notice, just so you know. He was given notice, like, hey, your friend Lazarus is sick. And he tells his disciples, oh, he's just sleeping. And they're like, oh, well, if he's sleeping, then he'll wake up. And he says, well, he's dead. I mean, just so you guys understand. In your eyes, he's dead. So he shows up too late. His friend Lazarus has been wrapped in burial clothes and been in a tomb for a number of days now. And he stinks because he's decaying, right? And his sister comes out and says, if you'd been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And Jesus says, didn't I tell you if you believed, you'd see the glory of God? And your brother will rise, is what he says to her. And she replies, yes, I know, he'll rise again in the resurrection on the last day. That this was some of their theology. They're thinking about God coming out now. He'll rise again on the last day at the resurrection. I believe in that. And Jesus just says this to her, I am the resurrection. I am in a sense, I am the last day. I am the last day walking around right now and encountering you. So I am the resurrection and the life. And then he says this, and here it is. Oh, this part is so good. Anyone who lives because of confidence in me will never really die. And then this horrible question. Do you believe this? And if I'm honest, no. That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Anyone who lives because of confidence in me will never really die. But again, like he upsets our logic. He upsets our way of thinking, and he's asking us to change our own way of thinking. He is the last day rushing into the present as resurrection life that cannot be stopped. And in case you had any doubts, he calls to her brother inside the tomb, Lazarus, come on out. And you know what happens? Lazarus comes out. That's why Jesus used the term sleeping to describe Lazarus. And another man named Jairus, whose daughter had died, Jesus says, oh, she's just sleeping. and they laughed at him. And I laugh at him because he clearly doesn't understand life and death. Or does he? And maybe I don't. I don't believe. But he's inviting us to trust him. You know, when they chose Matthias as a disciple to replace Judas, who betrayed Jesus, they chose him because he was a witness to the resurrection, not the crucifixion. You don't hear Jesus say, I am the crucifixion and the death. You hear him say, I am the resurrection and the life. He is life. And death will not stop him. He'll even go through it and show you. My life, how can you be resurrection life before you've died? It's a quality of life that is irrepressible. No matter what you do to this life, it will not be stopped. And I'll just add into that, because he says he is this thing, I am love. No matter what you do, this love will not be stopped. It is always trying to get to you. Always. And the only barriers are our own misunderstanding, our own logic, our own faulty thinking about how things actually are here. And he's trying to make it really clear. Look, there is nothing that can separate you from my love. But I'm going to let you think that way if that's how you want to think. Because I'm that kind. I'll give you the dignity to choose. But just guess what? I am relentlessly pursuing you. You can forget about yourself because I never will. You can take up that cross and follow me. He doesn't say live on the cross. He says just keep it close, kind of like as a reminder. So John, when you want to expand your platform, just maybe don't. You know, when you want to write that book and really, just maybe don't. Because I'm thinking about you, John. I've never stopped thinking about you. You hear him say, I'm the resurrection and the life. He is life. You remain in him. You remain in life. He invites us to himself. I was taught that it was the cross and that it was the blood that saved me. It's him who saves me. I objectify the instrument of execution and the blood that was spilled and make it all magic, but none of it is anything without him, and you're invited to him. You're invited to a reality, to a person, to someone who loves you and is pursuing you and is after you relentlessly. He's alive and he can be known in the power of his own spirit. He's good. He's for you. He's loving you, even now. His life is irrepressible. It cannot be stopped. And in this season, leading up to the resurrection, what if we just chose to follow him? Believe him. Take him at his word. Trust him. What if we, instead of fasting, just chose to forgive everyone? What if everyone who's celebrating, all my Muslim friends that are celebrating Ramadan, would, instead of fasting from sunup to sundown, just chose to forgive everyone? I might not win. To be last, to be servant of all, to humble yourself, to go into your closet and pray, to give secretly without anybody knowing. I'll just say, and I'll close with this, you can forget about yourself. You can deny yourself. You can forget about yourself. Because he simply refuses to forget about you. You are so, so dearly loved. Amen? That's it. That's all I got.